Hello, my name is Jamie Pretner. I'm a graduate student at Morningside College and a special education transition coordinator at 10 through 12 plus high school. My research study is done on the acquisition of employability skills of high school students with communication barriers and intellectual disabilities. The problem in the research that I found was if students with disabilities were not able to gain employment after high school, they weren't able to be financially independent. Many of them started to show signs of disconnectedness with the community, mental health issues, and in this last study in Hook and Courtney, they suggest if there's an increase in the job quality and job satisfactory feeling, that there would be a decrease in incarcerations with students who have disabilities. So after looking at these, I really noticed there is not a clear pathway for students with disabilities to get and keep work post-high school. There has been many different opportunities and instances where video modeling has shown to support students with disabilities in acquiring new skills. So this topic is very close to what I currently do. Right now, I am working with students to try and help them acquire more work skills and transition after high school into full-time employment. Students learn best as they have models, as they're working hands-on, and the current practice is to have job coaches with verbal support. However, I do realize that resource is very limited post-high school. The importance of this work really breaks down into potential success post-high school for transition age students with disabilities. If video modeling is something that is shown to work through this study, it's a possibility that students would be able to increase their job skill level. Employers would have more support in training, and outside community service providers would have another tool to benefit students moving forward. Past research with video modeling, there's a bit here and there. Some of it was centered around is video modeling more effective if it has narration versus not narration. And it was shown to be more effective with narration. And then taking a look at a couple studies that focused on gaining and applying social skills. We know that on the job there are a lot of soft skills that are needed. And so looking at the study, and yes, students were able to gain social skills through use of video modeling. And finally, there were a few studies that looked at how the video was played. Some looked at how it would affect students with disabilities if it was on a loop. And these two studies found that students with disabilities were able to refocus themselves more independently than if there wasn't a loop playing. The gap in the research is really because the majority of the research is being done at elementary level with students diagnosed with autism. Video modeling has really not been used to help students with disabilities acquire job tasks. It's been used for other things. And then majority of the studies are in that small group setting. So the objectives for my research was really to see the effects of using video modeling versus coach, and verbal support on the job. My goal for this research was to gain more knowledge on the video modeling, and how that could potentially support students with ID and who use communication devices. The impacts of the field of study is really to broaden the current studies that are going on and that have been done. Impacts on my work is hopefully gaining another training tool that I can use with students to help increase their level of understanding and the number of job tasks they can successfully do independently, and to have another tool to guide employers to use when working with students with disabilities and training them on a job. The methodology, the research design that I used was AB multiple baseline design. I worked specifically with students with ID and who use communication. I had a barrier in communication, and the videos did have narration. Looking at the participants, I selected 3 male high school students, ages between 16 and 17. They were placed in a direct instruction class called World of Work through their IEP team. They all used the communication device. The materials I used, the program that I run has iPads available, and so we used iPads. I videoed peers completing the job task and did the narration. When students were watching the video modeling, I made sure that we had a quiet environment. The tables in the room were rectangle tables, and then we had the job site that connected with the video modeled job tasks. So the baseline data was collected. You can see here we've got the task analyzed chart. The task towel courtesy is broken up into 6 steps, and here I collected data on their baseline to see were they independent or did they need prompts. So independent or prompts in each of those areas. Their data was reported in a percentage, and the students would watch the video model clip 3 times, and then they would attempt the task, and if it was not independently done, the next day they would start that process over again until that was mastered. So in analyzing the information, you'll see that the students' baseline data was plotted, and then there's phase lines introduced for when the student started receiving the video modeling instruction. So the independent variables was using narrated video modeled for the new job task. Dependent was independent task correct completion. Reliability was high, being that I was the one narrating the videos, I was the one collecting the data, and the students were completing the same job task at the same job site, and so there was very little differences introduced there. However, the validity is low because this is a very new strategy, and there's not a lot of standardized models that I can use to collect data or any normed information out there. So the results that I found, I was pretty excited with. The baseline data showed a pattern of growth, which is good. It's good to know that job coach support is helping students to grow. However, once the video modeling was introduced, you can see there's a much faster rate of growth towards mastery, and it showed as well once students mastered the skill, their skill plateaued. Well, that's good, because that means that they continued to understand and apply the knowledge that they had. So these findings really did support my hypothesis. As you can see here, the baseline data, you can see they have very little growth, and then once the intervention was in place, the students' growth was much more rapid. So the implications of this research is really, first of all, it's right in line with the other video modeling research that's been done. Yes, it is a training tool. It can support students with disabilities to learn new things. This tool helps both students, community service providers, and employers to have a new positive way to help train employees with disabilities. Some limitations. The sample size of the study was very small, and it only focused on three male gender students. Something else that's difficult to know for sure is the amount of exposure to the job task beforehand. This was a laundry task. Tell courtesy is something that they may have done previously in a volunteer, or they do this at their own house. So they might have some experience with that. This is a very new area to study, and so there's not a lot out there as far as the norming. In the future, I would hope that other studies would be able to focus on a larger group of participants, maybe more difficult tasks done, multiple steps, and having a formulated tool to collect the normed data. Thank you for being with me through this presentation. This has been a learning experience, and I have enjoyed sharing